there are different opinions about how much you want to indent a paragraph. And technically, sometimes people will say to do it um, to the width of two M spaces. And an M space, that's spelled EM, comes from letterpress, metal typography. And so let me show you where to get that if that is what you want to start with. So you go under Type, and under Insert White Space, and there's an M space. You can see it's a single M is not enough. And you would do, there's a double M space. I think that looks to me a little bit deep, maybe an M and then an N, but to be honest, I do it by eye and I do it proportionally. The thing to remember is that the width of the column is really what should drive the depth of the indentation. So if I had a very wide column width, you can see that it can support as deep an indentation as 2M, but if I have a very narrow column width, all of a sudden that looks much, much too deep, and you want to be sensitive to making it proportional. That's probably better. So let me go back to sort of a middling paragraph. So when I want to create a paragraph indentation, I do not hit the space bar. Right, that is not cool for InDesign. So what I'm going to do is bring up tabs, which are up now. So it's Command-Shift-T brings up the tab. And what you do here is, let's bring this off, you would start with a left justified tab. You simply click on the gray bar and you can slide it wherever you want. And then when you hit tab, when you hit tab, when you hit tab, you get it. And then I just judge by eye and judging relative to the width of the column, and I can simply slide that in or out until it looks the way I want it. So this is probably a reminder for many of you, but I just want to let you know how to properly set half-line spaces when you're using space betweens in paragraphs. So we have our text here, we have no paragraphing set, and we're going to go into the type command, and then that brings up, you can see the paragraph here in InDesign. I'm always working in either advanced or typography in terms of the workspace, just so I have everything up there. So you can see, of course, this is where your type is, this is where your paragraphing is. So these two things here are space before and space after. So my rule of thumb is that if you're going to do space betweens, you want to have at a minimum a half line space. Why is that? Because if you have less than a half line space, then it's going to look like a leading accident. It's not going to look purposeful enough. So you need to have just enough space to make it look like a deliberate choice. So in order to do that, we're going to go back to the typesetting and we're going to say, okay, right now I've got Caslon Pro, regular, it's 11/14. The half line refers to half of the leading, not half of the type size. So in this case, the leading is 14 points. So when I go to paragraph here, I'm going to set it at P7 as a space between. And as you can see now, there's your half line space. Just for fun, I'm going to show you if you have less than a half line space, like that, P3, you can see that it's not nearly enough and that it looks not deliberate. So half line is half the leading. It can even be, let's say you have a setting of 11 on 15, for example, then your half line space could be P7.5 because that's half the space, and there it is. turned on the hidden characters to allow you to really see what happens with paragraphing and returns. So here you can see this little pilcrow symbol indicates that there is a paragraph break. If I bring this up here and do a shift return, which is a soft return, you see it's putting in a soft return symbol, this little bracket. And so that means that it considers this to be part of this whole paragraph instead of a separate paragraph. Why does that matter? Well, because when you set up style sheets, styles get applied by the paragraph. And so it will only recognize it if it has an actual paragraph break, which is a hard return, and not a soft return. So it's just important to understand that the difference between a hard return and a soft return really affects paragraphing.